Greetings, I am Decimus Fabius, the greatest Roman emperor, and today I will share with you stories of how Rome not only triumphed in wars, but also how power struggles, intrigues, and peculiar traditions shaped this mighty civilization. In these tales, I will be honest, even I wasn't without flaws. Let us begin. In my early days as emperor, I realized that the greatest challenge was not external enemies, but holding on to power within the empire itself. Rome was not just an empire. It was a gathering of ambitious individuals, each seeking more. Among them was Lucius Sulla, one of my closest allies and also my greatest threat. He was brutal and decisive, with legions that showed no mercy. I tried negotiating with him, but he only smirked and said, "Peace? Peace is for the weak." It became clear that the only way to stop him was through force. I assembled my legions and prepared for battle. Sulla's forces were formidable, but I knew that Rome's strength lay in strategy. I used clever maneuvers and tactics, exploiting his overconfidence. To the surprise of many, we emerged victorious. But instead of destroying his supporters, I chose to bring them into my camp. In Rome, defeating your enemy was only half the battle. Turning them into allies secured true power. Sulla, recognizing my strength, eventually joined forces with me to eliminate other rivals. This taught me an essential lesson. In Rome, trust was a rare and fleeting commodity, and survival meant constantly staying ahead of those who sought to betray you. Rome, however, was rarely at peace. One of the most harrowing times in my reign came during the Great Revolt in Britannia. The tribes there were fierce, unlike anything our legions had faced before. Their leader, a warrior queen named Boudica, united the tribes against us. She was fearless and commanded the respect of her people, who fought with unmatched ferocity. Entire Roman settlements were burned to the ground, and for a moment it seemed that Rome might lose its foothold in Britannia. But Rome's strength lay in resilience. I sent one of my most trusted generals, Gaius Cassius, to deal with the rebellion. His strategy was brilliant. Instead of engaging in open battle, he used our superior supply lines to cut off their food and resources. Starved and desperate, the tribes had no choice but to face us on the battlefield under our terms. The final battle was brutal, with Boudica herself leading the charge, but Rome emerged victorious. It was a costly victory, but one that reminded the world of Rome's unyielding power. Not all challenges were military. Within the Senate, political intrigue was as dangerous as any battlefield. One senator, Marcus Aquilius, sought to undermine my rule. He spread rumors that I planned to dissolve the Senate and rule as a dictator. These lies spread like wildfire, turning even some of my allies against me. To counter this, I employed the help of a brilliant orator, Quintus Marcius, who defended me with eloquence and reason. In a public debate, he exposed Aquilius's treachery, leaving him disgraced. The lesson was clear. Words, when used wisely, can be as powerful as swords. Of course, Rome wasn't just about power struggles and wars. It was also a city of traditions. One of the most bizarre was the Feast of Saturnalia. During this festival, roles were reversed. Slaves became masters, and masters served their slaves. It was a time of chaos and joy, where societal rules were turned upside down. I remember one Saturnalia vividly. My personal servant Titus, dressed in my imperial robes and sat on my throne, barking orders at the court. It was all in good fun, but it also reminded me of the delicate balance between power and humility. For 1 week, even the mightiest emperor could laugh at himself. Another tradition that shaped Rome was the triumph. A triumph was a grand parade held to celebrate a military victory. As the emperor, I led one of the most spectacular triumphs in Roman history after our victory over Parthia. The streets of Rome were lined with cheering crowds as we paraded through the city, displaying the spoils of war, gold, exotic animals, and prisoners in chains. It was a display of Rome's glory, but also a reminder of the cost of empire. For every triumph, countless lives were lost, and countless more were changed forever. One story that still haunts me is the tragedy of Pompeii. When Mount Vesuvius erupted, it buried an entire city under ash. The devastation was unimaginable, and the loss of life was staggering. As news of the disaster reached Rome, I sent ships and supplies to aid the survivors. But nothing could erase the horror of what had happened. Pompeii became a symbol of nature's power and the fragility of human life, a reminder that even the greatest empire is powerless against the forces of the earth. Through all these challenges, I often found solace in Rome's culture and innovation. Our roads connected the empire, making it possible to govern such vast territories. Our aqueducts brought fresh water to cities, improving the lives of countless citizens. Even our laws, codified and applied throughout the empire, brought a sense of order and justice. These achievements were not just the work of emperors, but of countless Romans who believed in the idea of a united empire. So, what is the legacy of Rome? It is not just in our monuments or our victories, but in the lessons we leave behind. Rome taught the world the power of resilience, the value of tradition, and the importance of unity. If you ever feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, remember this: Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is greatness. Thank you for listening, and may the lessons of Rome guide you in your own battles. Let me tell you about one of the most cunning betrayals in Roman history. It began in the province of Dacia, a land rich in gold and fiercely defended by its king, Decebalus. The Dacians were no strangers to Rome. They had fought us before and proven themselves formidable warriors. When I ascended to power, I decided it was time to bring Dacia firmly under Roman control, not just for its resources, but to secure Rome's borders. At first, I attempted diplomacy. I invited Decebalus to Rome under the guise of forming an alliance. He was a shrewd leader and accepted the invitation, knowing full well it might be a trap. In the Forum, surrounded by Roman splendor, I offered him terms. Dacia would become a client state, paying tribute to Rome in exchange for protection. Decebalus agreed, though his eyes betrayed a simmering defiance. For a time, the agreement seemed to hold. Dacia sent tribute, and Roman merchants traded freely in its markets. But Decebalus had no intention of being Rome's pawn. Secretly, he began building alliances with neighboring tribes and fortifying his strongholds. Reports reached me that Dacian